My name is Rob Andriasi. I am a finance and a marketing major from Exeter, New Hampshire, and I spent this summer interning at Next Step Health Tech in Dover, New Hampshire. Next Step Health currently has 5 employees, and I worked with most of the time. I worked with the development team, who were building an app for high school students to virtually build up resiliency and also teach them lessons on just how to interact positively in their communities and within their family. I was I also worked very closely with my CEO, Sam Warak, on more of the business side of things. Um, so I was a marketing and an operations intern. A big part of what I did was produced a library of videos, over 120 videos of short form content. These videos basically were called lessons, which were aimed to teach the younger generation just lessons about building resiliency and positive habits in their school, communities, and family. Uh, I also created promotional content for all forms of media, which means Instagram posts, blogs, and also walkthrough videos that were submitted for proposals. And I also spent some time brainstorming and executing future marketing strategies for later on in the future. Um, After this summer, a couple of things I learned after working at this internship was a few things about startups was that you have to think fast, think differently, and think for yourself. So obviously in the startup culture, things are very time sensitive, things are very important. Um, and it's important to be able to think and problem solve very fast. Similarly, it's very important to think differently than your competition because as a startup, you're very small, you're trying to succeed. So you need to be able to think differently and separate yourself from the rest of the competition to succeed in your goal. And the last thing is to think for yourself. In such a small team, and when everybody's as busy as they are, sometimes you have to just think on your own. There's not always going to be someone there to hold your hand. I actually enjoyed that quite a bit. I was able to take some liberty and do some tasks that I thought were important, that I thought were meaningful, and just do some things on my own. A couple of other things that I learned about myself were that I actually enjoy a lot of graphic design. I spent this summer doing, like I said, a lot of media posts, a lot of Instagram posts, and a lot of that was composed of doing some graphic design on Canva, some Photoshop, and I actually liked it a lot more than I thought I would. And then another thing that I learned about myself was that I definitely work a lot better with diverse assignments. So like I said, I was doing things like walkthrough videos to taking notes on marketing strategies to just curating media for every platform available. And I definitely perform better when I'm able to kind of switch up my work and say, all right, like time to do this now, time to do this now, time to do this now. And I work much more efficiently and I'm much more productive. A high of this summer was, like I said, creating that library content. It was super enjoyable to learn how to produce, edit, make all this content that was really meaningful. And then a low actually was one of the times I was working on a project for a day or two, and it actually somehow got erased within one of the programs that we were doing. So that was a pretty big bummer. I'm going to use this experience to further my marketing career because I've basically been able to interact with a bunch of different sides of marketing, like content marketing, outreach marketing, product marketing. And I feel like I've gained a lot of experience that a lot of people my age do not have. So I hope that it'll help me progress in my marketing career. I just wanted to say thank you to the eCenter and the Patent Family Foundation for allowing me to pursue this experience and this opportunity. I've learned a lot and it's been a really enjoyable experience. So thank you all.
Hey guys, hope you're doing well. My name is Isaiah Barba, and I'm attending the Peter T. Paul College at UNH. I'm an upcoming junior, and my major is finance, and my minor is real estate, and my hometown is Rye, New Hampshire. Overall, the past few weeks, I've been interning at Brickleaf Properties, and I'm excited to tell you guys about my experience. So Brickleaf Properties is a real estate investment firm specializing in the acquisition and management of multifamily properties throughout New Hampshire. It was founded in New Hampshire by Axel Ragnarsson. His company, Brickleaf Properties, focuses on investing value-add multifamily assets throughout the southern New Hampshire area. So Axel is the main guy who runs this company, and I was brought in to help fulfill the acquisitionist role, which I'll get into later. So Axel does have other team members on his team. However, I didn't really associate with them. But the other members on his team were his property managers, lenders, attorneys, real estate agents, contractors, and then just his overall network. So my main job working with Brickleaf Properties was working as acquisitionist. My goal in this role was to find off-market properties and help facilitate the process for Axel to purchase the property below market value. So this basically entails me finding the leads, vetting their contact information, and then reaching out to see if they're looking to sell their property. And these are majority investors, I would say. And then from there, if some weren't interested at the time, I would then follow up with them periodically to stay on top of mind. Additionally, depending on their response, I would track what they said or the situation in the CRM that Brickleaf Properties provided. So basically, I'm keeping track of all his leads and the people who Axel needs to stay connected with. On the side, I would also be gathering up lending and multifamily news. So every week, I send over what I found, which has been a huge help to him as it lets him provide value to these sellers. So, for example, I would get I'll look at a bunch of articles, and I would consolidate the information and send it over to Axel. He would put it together a newsletter, and then he would send it out to these leads or these sellers just to stay on top of mind with them. So experience, 3 things I learned about startups. One thing that I learned was that it takes long to get the ball to start rolling regarding that analogy. So you have to do a lot of upfront work to get started. But once the ball goes down the hill, it keeps gaining momentum, and it's easier to build from there. So basically, like what that analogy was saying, you have to do a lot of upfront work when starting a startup. But once you get started, it just gets easier because everything comes into place. Another thing that I learned was that if you keep doing what you love, money will come with it. So for example, Axel loved analyzing and finding off-market deals, and he kept at it for a long time, and then eventually made it a lucrative business. Another thing I learned about startups was that you want to have systems in place when you're hiring people or adding people to your team. So this could also be called SOPs, standard operating procedures. But it made my learning process a lot easier when I started because I had a procedure to follow. So if I were to replicate or do what Axel was doing, I would have these SOPs in place. So when I have a team member come in, I can just give them this package, and they could know what to do, and it would reduce. It will also just save time. So 2 things I learned about myself. One is that I really enjoy real estate and the whole process of finding deals. And additionally, I learned that cold calling kind of drains me. So like after some time, I needed some time to myself to recover after speaking with a bunch of people because I kind of found that I'm kind of more of an introverted person, and I needed some time to recover after just speaking with a lot of people throughout the day. So some high and low points throughout this internship experience. A high point was that I found a property for Axel. He did end up purchasing the property. It is located in Rochester, and it was a triplex. So that was huge. That was very exciting to kind of see the beginning and the end of that whole process. And additionally, a low point though throughout this internship experience was just kind of receiving a lot of no's regarding people saying they're not looking to sell, given this circumstance and this craziness that's going on with the whole pandemic. However, even though I did receive a lot of no's and it was kind of a low point for me, it just kind of hurt my self-esteem. in the end, I just kept reminding myself that it's a numbers game, this whole cold calling and everything, and that every no, I'm just that much closer to a yes. So I will use this experience going forward. This whole experience that I learned. I plan to mirror what I've done with Axel and replicate it for myself, as I am trying to do exactly what Axel was doing. Yeah. So basically, I just want to replicate what he's done, and the things that did work and things that didn't work, I would apply those things and kind of go from there, because I've learned a lot, and I have a great stepping stone to keep going and moving forward. So in conclusion, I just want to say this opportunity would have not been possible without the generous support of the Pat and Family Foundation through the the UNH eCenter Startup Program. So thank you so much, and I've learned a ton throughout this experience, and I'm just very grateful. So thank you again, and I look forward to seeing you guys all this upcoming fall. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Carla Davis. I'm a member of the class of 2023 and a business administration major within the Paul College. I grew up here in Durham, New Hampshire, and I was lucky enough to spend my summer interning with Soteria Solutions here in Durham. Soteria Solutions is a 12-employee and growing nonprofit startup that utilizes research-based techniques to prevent sexual and interpersonal violence and harassment on college campuses, high schools, and workplaces. Their curriculum, Bringing in the Bystander, uses the bystander intervention model to teach training participants how to become a pro-social bystander and effectively prevent violence and harassment in their daily lives. This curriculum is typically taught in person. However, due to COVID-19, Soteria has released a comprehensive set of free downloadable guidelines for facilitators on how to virtually facilitate the program. Soteria has also released a bystander intervention social media toolkit, as well as a social marketing campaign called Know Your Power. Soteria Solutions is a UNH spinoff of the Prevention Innovations Research Center, often referred to as PERC, where the curriculum was researched and developed. PERC is an internationally recognized research lab dedicated to improving institution policy, practices, and capacity for sexual and relationship violence through evidence-based approaches. I worked primarily with Jennifer Scrafford, Casey LaPlante, Megan Stewart, and Jane Stapleton. Jennifer is the VP of Operations at Soteria and the Director of Commercialized Product Development and Technology Transfer for PERC. Casey is the Project Manager here at Soteria, and Megan is the Social Media Coordinator for Soteria, as well as the Site Coordinator for Haven, a local violence prevention agency. Jane is the President and co-founder of Soteria, as well as a founding member of PERC. I worked most closely with Jennifer and Casey, as they were the two who assigned me projects, and they always came into the office. My work with Soteria focused mainly on social media marketing, new product development, and market research. I'm working on new product development, in which I've helped to create resource tools that clients can use on social media, as well as for online learning formats. These resource tools will be used as boosters to the purchase curriculum that can help our clients spread the message about the prevention program they have implemented on their campuses and schools. In this slide, I included two of my favorite images I've made for Soteria. The first on top is a social media testimonial I made to advertise our future virtual Train the Trainer workshops using raw customer feedback from our most recent training. The one below is a resource graphic I made for the guidance document for facilitating Bringing in the Bystander virtually, with COVID-friendly resources for survivors of sexual and relationship violence. I've been working on brainstorming, designing, and creating content for our future TikTok profile. Our goal is to effectively reach our high school and college audience, to teach them about bystander intervention, as well as broaden our social media presence. I was also formally acknowledged as an author in our new guidelines for rolling out our training virtually. The coolest and first thing I learned about working for a startup is that everyone you work with has such different skills. Every day when I go to work, I get to learn from a skilled product developer, a data-focused yet highly creative project manager, and an expert in the field of sexual and relationship violence research. They all think and work a little differently, but they work seamlessly as a team. Not only does everyone bring different skills to the table, but I also learned that everyone comes from really different backgrounds. The last and likely most important thing I learned about startups during my time with Soteria is how your team works together can make or break your success during tough times. When COVID-19 hit and the whole team went remote, they had to figure out how they're going to continue their training. The bulk of their revenue comes from the in-person trainings, which couldn't happen anymore. However, while it was stressful, they rose above the obstacle and found a way to administer their content online. Not only centered their work around the challenge, they made their organization stronger by showing their clients how dedicated they are to their work. During my time at Soteria, I learned that when I feel as if my opinion is genuinely valued, I work much better. When I started, I realized that I'm not just here to help them sort data and send emails. These people have always cared about what I thought and have always taken my ideas into consideration from day one. The second thing I've learned is that when I'm working for a cause that I'm passionate about, I become a much more optimistic and just generally happier person in every facet of my life and not just at work. Even when the tasks themselves are menial, like scrubbing data sheets, I always know that I'm working towards a much larger purpose. The high point of my internship was definitely a few weeks into the program. I felt like I had settled into the office, bonded with my new colleagues, and I felt confident in the projects that I was working on. The low point of my internship was probably one of my last weeks there. Since I hadn't been feeling great, I decided to work from home for the week until I got my COVID test back. While I still loved the projects and felt passionate about the cause, I realized how beneficial it was for me to be working in the office with them. My experience with Soteria has given me technical skills that will help me academically in Paul College, as well as connections that will serve me well throughout my career. I'm grateful that I'll be going into my first UNH marketing courses with real-world experience in social media marketing and market research. I feel like now I understand business client relationships in a way I wouldn't be able to just through classes. Talking with Jane about her research and her experience working at Found Perk has been invaluable. She connected me with Sharon Potter, the executive director of Perk. After Sharon and I talked about her research, she offered me the opportunity to intern with them for the spring 2021 semester, which I'm planning on taking. For the fall semester, Soteria offered to keep me on board, which I'm also intending on doing. Thank you for listening to my experience with Soteria Solutions, and thank you once again to the Patton Family Foundation for making this experience possible.
Hi everyone, my name is Kelsey Daw, and this summer I was able to intern as a finance and operations intern for Kikori out of Portsmouth, New Hampshire. I am going to be a junior this upcoming school year, and I'm majoring in finance and information systems and business analytics, and I'm originally from Nashua, New Hampshire. A little overview about Kikori. Kikori is an edtech startup that developed an app to create a database for experiential education activities to aid educators, facilitators, and parents in creating more SEL skills for their students. Currently, the revenue is based off of the subscriptions that are being sold for the Kikori platform. And this is very early stage, so the revenue has been pretty minimal thus far, but they're anticipating a high revenue growth this upcoming school year. The investment side is currently being discussed and looked into for the upcoming future, which was an interesting part to be able to help research and come up with ideas for the team. The company structure, Kikori was created by the two co-founders, Kendra Bostic, who was my main point of contact, and Bryn Lodig. And there are about 5 or so employees who are working part-time, helping the company grow. It's still very early stage, so there aren't many full-time employees at this time. My job as a finance and operations intern kind of roamed all over the place. I think it's just the nature of a startup to be thrown any task that needs to be completed, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it. And the major accomplishments were just being able to contribute and participate in all of the meetings that Kendra had, which was really exciting to be a valued member of the team whose voice was heard. The key startup takeaways that I learned initially is that nothing is certain. Everything is changing at a very rapid pace with startups, which kind of adds to the excitement of it. You will make mistakes. I've found that I often made mistakes, but it's just part of the learning process, and it's part of the culture of startups as well. Listen to everyone's advice, but trust yourself. I think many times having conversations with Kendra, we would hear expert opinions and advice from advisors, and at the end of the day, you have to do what's best for you and your team and your vision, and no one understands that or can see that more clearly than you can. Lessons that I learned about myself is that I tend to weigh my value on success, which I think is a good trait to understand that I hold going forward, and I can work towards valuing who I am as an employee and as a person to try and find success that way. I also really enjoy the startup environment. I think it's really exciting, and I love how fast paced and changing it always has something new happening every single day. So I really appreciated that aspect of it. A high point was meeting with an advisor who pointed out the uniqueness of an all female team. He stated he had never been in a meeting with all females before. So I kind of stepped back and realized the value in that and how fortunate I was to work for an all-female team. A low point was when I accidentally launched the Kickstarter, which apparently is a very common issue, as I feel as though the platform is not super user-friendly, but this was a learning experience and launched some new initiatives, which I think helped overall. So that was definitely an interesting aspect. And finally, I just wanted to say thank you to the Patton family, eCenter, and Kikori for giving me this experience. I'm really appreciative, especially with the current situation, to have been given not only an internship, but an internship of this value. And I think I'll step away from this learning things that no other position could have offered. So I wanted to thank everybody.
Hello, my name is Darren Javadlo. I'm a senior from Hampton, New Hampshire. I'm studying finance and entrepreneurial studies at the Paul Business School. I'm going to graduate in 2021. I interned for Noka Spiked Water this summer. They're based out of Newmarket, New Hampshire, but they did have an office in Boston, Mass inside of a WeWork. So a little bit about Noka. It's a non-carbonated spiked water. It's the only one on the market right now. It was started by 3 UNH grads, Rich Roy, Alex Fabonio, and Galen Hand, who I worked alongside the whole summer. To date, they've raised $3.5 million in investments. The first round was $500,000, and that was to get their first initial product in order. And they got another $3 million round of seed funding to help get into the rest of New England and to get into the 31 states that they're allowed to ship to now. So this summer, what didn't I do might be the question. I did a little bit of merchandising, I did a little bit of finance, I ran the social media pages, I went on sales calls, I went on road trips with the boys. It was a blast, and I learned a lot. So 3 significant things I learned about startups throughout the summer were celebrate the little wins and then celebrate the little milestones. Every little thing you get into, every store you get into, celebrate it like it's the best thing ever. And it helps just like build that culture and build that vibe towards like success. The second would be culture matters. There's a small group, a small team that you're working with and alongside day in and day out. And you have to get along, you have to know each other's strengths and weaknesses and where you can step in and where you can help. And the third would be harnessing the power of your network and your connections. And that actually leads me into some of the things I learned about myself over my internship. My own network was able to contribute to Noka and the brand. I've been working in the food and beverage industry for the last 5 years as a line cook and at the front of the house as well. So I was able to like use my own connections and get Noka in all of our 12 restaurants across New England. So that was like a nice accomplishment for me to be able to help and like see the company grow. Also, I love like the vibe and culture of a startup. The not 9 to 5 style work. It's 8 a.m. till midnight, whatever kind of needs to happen now, you just get it done. Everything's on your own. You have your team to just kind of work things out and work problems out. And that's something like really attracts me as a future employee to maybe a startup. So the highs and lows of an internship, I'd say the highs would be going out on my own and like creating content for the Instagram or some of our social media pages and like running with ads throughout the summer. And I'd say the lows were probably the long drives to Connecticut and middle of nowhere, Vermont to go see some stores and the product in the stores. Things I'm gonna take with me in my future, I love working with startups and around startups. I don't necessarily know what I want to do post-college, but it definitely involves the startup world. So I think there's a ton of valuable lessons I can take with me. And just to finish this all off, I would just like to say thank you to the Patton Foundation once again. This was an opportunity of a lifetime, and it wouldn't be possible without you guys. So thank you.
Hello, I'm Aiden Kittredge. I'm from Hampton, New Hampshire, and I am an economics major at the Peter T. Paul College of Business and Economics at UNH. I'm going into my senior year, and I will be graduating this upcoming spring. My internship this summer is at Aisling Organic Cosmetics, which is a clean, organic, vegan makeup company based out of Salem, New Hampshire. Aisling Organic Cosmetics is an e-commerce based company that sells clean and organic, high-performance cosmetics. There are 5 full-time employees at the company, and we have experienced 150% year-over-year growth over the past few years. The company is backed by both angel investors and VC firms. My role in the company is based around advertising and marketing. I do a lot of content planning and creation, and I also help to direct the video and photo shoots that we have for the brand. The employees that I work with on a day-to-day basis include Krista, who is the founder and CEO of Aisling Organics, Bree, who is the head of customer experience, and Joanne, who is the head of email and SMS marketing. I have learned so much at my internship, but some to note include the fact that at a startup company, you must be a jack of all trades, meaning whenever something is needed to be done, you have to be willing to jump in even if you have no prior experience in doing that task and learn on the go. Another thing that I learned about startups is that every day is a new day. It's a constantly changing schedule, and I never know what to expect going in, but I love that about working at a startup company. Startup companies also have an amazing culture. I love that we are all so tight-knit and everyone really pushes each other to be the best version of themselves, try new things, and encourage each other to succeed. Something that I learned about myself is that I'm actually a really creative person. I'm not creative in the traditional sense because I cannot paint or draw for the life of me, but I'm really creative when it comes to content creation and digital marketing. I have an eye for what looks nice and how to build a brand around an experience. I've also learned that I love working at small and high growth companies. I really love this environment about having something new every day and constantly being pushed to learn new things. I also learned through having a 50-50 remote and in-office schedule that I much prefer being in office to remote work. I just really thrive off the energy of the people that I'm working with. I've learned a lot about my future, and it's really changed throughout this process. I now want to go into something to do with content creation, social media marketing and advertising for niche brands. I'm not exactly sure where that path will take me, but I'm excited to see what my future will hold. Some of my favorite days at Aisling included the many video and photo shoots that we had to create more content for the brand. A couple notable days were when we had some local teens in to teach them about the ingredients in their conventional products versus the ones that we have in our clean beauty brand. I also got to have my grandmother in, which was a really cool experience that I'll never forget. The low points of my internship, however, were when I had to work from home because I really lacked the motivation that I got from being in office with the girls. I have had such an amazing experience over the past 10 weeks, and I can't wait to continue with Aisling Organics in the coming months and years. I wholeheartedly believe in the mission behind the brand, and I am so thankful for all the experiences that I have gained over this internship. Thank you so much to the Patton Family Foundation as well as the E-Center for making this possible. If you want to continue learning about my journey, you can follow Aisling Organics on Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, and Facebook, as well as my personal accounts. I've been keeping a vlog on my YouTube channel, which is just named Aiden Kittredge, where I've been posting weekly videos of my internship experience.
Hi everyone, my name is Marissa Labadini. I'm from Merrimack, Massachusetts, and I'm going to be a senior this year at the University of New Hampshire with a major in business administration with focuses in entrepreneurial studies and marketing. And today I'm here to talk about my amazing internship at Unreleased Studios this summer, and it's located in Boston, Massachusetts, and we work within the GSB labs. So a little about Unreleased Studios is that it is an ed tech company that combines STEM with Reese's style play. They have 10 full-time unruly team members. Their revenue is $250K. And for investors, they have angel investors and corporate VCs, including eCoast Angels, Techstars, LearnLaunch, Amazon, AT&T, Main Angels, NextFab, and Ryan's Fund. And here's a short little clip of more about what Splats can do in the classroom. So as you can see, this is a membership that they sell to schools that they can use as a STEM tool in any classroom where they can code and then do the activity with the Splats. So it's a lot of collaboration and a lot of active movement. So some of the unruly team is Brianne Leeming, who's the founder and CEO, Melvin John, VP of Operations, and Lauren Watkins, the marketing head. So I've spent most of my time working with Lauren with marketing content and analysis. So one of my first projects was SEO keywords for the website. So I went through all their current blogs and added some more primary SEO keywords into it in hopes of more traffic to the website. I also work with social media content. So I do 2 Twitter posts a day, 1 Facebook post a day, 1 LinkedIn post a day, and 1 Instagram post a week, just to keep our engagement levels up on the social media world and to let our customers know the new lesson plans that we have been creating. I also have done assistance in webinars where I sit in webinars that Lauren runs with either principals or partners with a company like EdWeb, where other teachers sit in and listen to some insight, especially right now with learning styles definitely changing this year. And then my long-term project is this market research survey and analysis, where I've created a market research survey to give out to our current customers in hopes that we just want to find out what platforms they use to get ed tech tools and ed tech information, what platforms they use the most and what they like, what they don't like, and then either finding a way that we can partner with something they already are looking at, or changing how we do something to make our customers like our platforms better and hopefully attract more customers. So I'm still doing that. I have a couple weeks left of the internship, so that'll be my final project. And then this is a short little clip of what hybrid learning is like. We wanted to create a video to show our customers exactly how you can use Splats virtually, because we thought it could be a little confusing to understand without a video. So this is our fitness activity pack and us demonstrating it. Awesome. So moving on to lessons learned, some lessons for myself that I've learned about me is that an object in motion stays in motion, which really just means after being quarantined for months, I really did miss working and I did miss being on the go, and I find I'm more productive when I work and more productive when I'm very busy, so it's been really great to get back into the workforce. And also challenge yourself to be unruly. It just basically means push yourself out of your comfort zones and really advocate for yourself if you have an idea and you want other people to hear about it. Some things I learned about startups is that 1, everyone wears many hats. You have to be ready to jump in really in any role when anyone needs help and kind of learn on the go if you don't necessarily know what you're doing. So you kind of, just because you're in one role does not mean you're gonna stick to it. And then the second thing I've learned is take initiative while communicating openly. It's important to be independent, and if you have an idea that might be helpful, like no one's gonna hold your hand. So I think it's important to know in a startup environment that you should just really run with ideas and not ask too many questions, but also communicate openly with these ideas and exactly what you're doing, just so the rest of the team is on board or they might have time to help as well. And number 3 is startups are unruly. It's definitely not a typical 9-to-5 cookie cutter type of job. Any startup really, it's kind of like every day is different, every week's different. You could be doing anything at any moment, and kind of just always expect the unexpected type of environment, which has been really great. So a high point of my internship has been creating the Twitter giveaway. So I created a Twitter contest and a Twitter campaign where we're giving out 12 spots to a school in a 1-year membership with us. So creating that campaign and like tracking the entrance and using Paradox to see that has been really cool. And then a low point has been not getting to work here for the full 10 weeks. Obviously, I'm very fortunate that I got to work here at all because of COVID, but I've been having so much fun here that it would have been great to do the 10 full weeks. And then something I can bring back to UNH from this is really taking all these real life experiences and bringing them into my ES classes next semester and really like learning from exactly what I did, and it'll be very easy for me to like make connections in that way. Other than that, that's all I had to say, but I wanted to give a really big thank you to the Patton Family Foundation for making this opportunity even possible for me, and a big shout out to the East Center for having opportunities like this as well. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your summer, and I'll see you guys soon.
Hi, my name's Anna Pollock, and I interned with Soak Pools in Pembroke, New Hampshire this summer. I'm currently a student at UNH in the business school, and I'm planning on majoring in marketing, and my graduation year is 2023. Soak Pools is a company that creates plunge pools that are delivered and shipped all across the country. They also provide customer service to people who already have their pools and people who are potentially looking into buying a pool. The company had about $1 million in revenue this past year and have 6 employees. The people that I worked closely with at Soak Pools was Karen and Brian Larson, who created the company in 2013. And Karen runs mostly the sales side of Soak Pools, and Brian works on the operations of the pool itself. And then another person I worked closely with was Kristen Stone, who is another sales associate. My largest accomplishments while being at Soak Pools was creating a new marketing strategy for the company. I came up with the idea of creating a YouTube channel for Soak Pools due to the fact that our product is so visual. I thought it'd be a great idea to have another platform that our customers could go to look at our pools and decide if it's the right option for them. What my job entailed at Soak Pools was day-to-day operations. I answered a lot of phones and a lot of emails. I provided great customer service to all these customers who are potentially looking to buy a pool in the near future and pushing them to think that this is the right decision for them and why this would be the right decision for them. To do this, I had to have a lot of knowledge of the pool. I also did a lot of pool operations. I went to pool startups where I learned how to wire things and use a drill and super fun and cool stuff that I thought I would never be doing. And then I also went on a lot of pool deliveries, which was really cool to watch a crane come in and put the pool that weighed 26,000 pounds into a hole that was dug into someone's yard. Things that I learned about startups while working at Soak Pools was the amount of growth that could happen in such a short amount of time. I only spent 10 weeks at Soak Pools, but the amount of growth I saw throughout the company just within those 10 weeks was tremendous. Another thing that I learned was how just such a factor, an unexpected factor, can make or break a company, such as COVID-19. COVID-19 actually really helped Soak Pools because everyone was sitting around at home with nothing to do and like, oh my God, we want a pool. So our phones and emails were absolutely blowing up with everyone wanting a phone and wanting a pool, which was very, very exciting for us. And the third thing that I learned are all the small things that you're responsible for when you own a company. There's so many little things that you don't even think about when you from my perspective, that I wouldn't even think about if I owned a company, such as we were filming a tutorial for some customers. And Karen was nervous about, she had to say the exact right thing or else she might be sued by a customer, even if something was just misleading. So it's just the small things that you wouldn't think about, like something like that could cost you a lot of money. 2 things that I learned about myself while working at Soak Pools was that I definitely want to go into sales when I get out of college. I always thought it would be a good idea or I thought it would be a good option for me once I got out of there, but I had no experience, so I didn't really know what I was talking about. But after my experience at Soap Pools, I absolutely loved working in sales. I loved how every single day was different and all the people I met throughout my time at Soap Pools. Another thing I learned is that I'm really good at swimming when thrown into deep water. Within my first week, I was expected to make phone calls that I just had no idea what I was talking about, and I actually was really successful on them, even though I didn't really know much that I was talking about. But I'm able to see the progress from my first week to my 10th week, which was really exciting. Then I was also expected to wire and drill and all these things that I have absolutely no experience in, but I was able to be successful in that, and that was really, really exciting. The highs and lows of my internship. The highs was definitely seeing the progress of my new marketing strategy. Karen was super excited about the idea, and she said it was something that she would never do if I wasn't there because she didn't have the time to do it. So it was really exciting how I could add that new thing into the company that could potentially bring them more customers. And also it's really exciting to see how excited that the customers who are participating in it are really excited to do these and make videos with me, which is really exciting. Another high of my internship was seeing the perspective of seeing a woman lead a company in a male-dominated industry. We would show up on startups where it's 3 women and then just surrounded by men who are working on the yard, the patio, the landscape, which is really exciting because it was totally unexpected for them. The low point of my internship was definitely the first week when I had no knowledge and all I wanted to do was help Karen, who was absolutely overwhelmed with emails and phone calls, and I just could not help her in any way. But as the internship continued, I was able to help her a lot, which was super, super exciting. The way that my internship will help me in my career and at UNH is how much confidence I gained while working at Soap Pools. I gained confidence in my interpersonal skills, working with customers and helping talk to them about why they should buy a pool and give them the best customer service I possibly could give them, which was really, really exciting. And then also I gained confidence in my ability to voice my opinions in a situation where teamwork is crucial. I thought because I was an intern, they wouldn't even want to hear my opinion just because I had no experience. But as my time went on, I learned that my opinion was valued and that it really helped create the best ideas possible for the company. I'd like to thank Soap Pools for having me this summer and giving me so much knowledge and experience throughout the entire 10 weeks I worked with them. And thank you to the eCenter and the Patton Family Foundation for making this possible. Thank you.
My name is Haley Simpson. I'm from Belmont, New Hampshire, and I am a rising junior in the Peter T. Paul College of Business and Economics. I have a major in business administration with a focus in marketing and information systems and business analytics. This past summer, I interned for Kraft Hot Sauce based in Lowell, Mass. However, we worked out of a co-working space in Manchester, New Hampshire. Kraft Hot Sauce is a small batch hot sauce company with their own personal brand named Crack Sauce. So we actually manufacture, produce, and sell our very own hot sauce. But we also sell Kraft hot sauces from around the world. The owner's name is Brian Rollman, and that was the only person that I was working with, as he's the only employee of this company besides me as of this summer. My role was the digital marketing intern. So I was working a lot on his website platform, which happened to be Shopify. I was inputting products, writing descriptions. I also was doing a lot of digital design for social media and for cover photos for blog posts and all kinds of advertisements. I also was working a lot with search engine optimization, SEO. Brian used to work at HubSpot, so he was teaching me all about the best ways to optimize your website to improve its rankings on a search engine. So we were putting in alt text on images, we were writing meta descriptions, trying to include long-tailed keywords in all of our blog posts. And a major achievement I had this summer was having the autonomy to take on a blog post myself. So what working at this startup taught me that Startups are constantly changing, and it's not just week to week, day to day, it's hour to hour. In the morning we would meet. I would have my list of to-dos that Brian would go over with me, and then throughout the day I would be working on them, and maybe I was inputting products on the website, and he would G-chat me and ask me to create a design for a t-shirt. And all day, every day, it was kind of switching up. And I really enjoyed the fast-paced environment of it, but I would not have been able to imagine how fast it is without experiencing it firsthand. Second thing is that startups really rely on the community. For us personally, Brian is going to farmers markets around Lowell, Mass, and honestly around Mass and New Hampshire itself, and he's selling hot sauce at little farmers markets to bring in revenue, in addition to his website and his wholesale opportunities. So he's literally relying on people to come and personally buy his hot sauce from him, the owner. And then the third thing was that quality comes first in a startup. Your name isn't recognized when you're talking to people. That's what you're doing. You're building your brand. So your products have to be of quality. They have to do what you say they do, and you have to find need for your product. And so unlike a lot of larger companies that are focusing on getting numbers out to meet the demand, we're focusing on making the demand because of our quality. So for us, we were using fresh ingredients, locally sourced, very safe environment, FDA approved, really focusing on the individual product. And that's huge for startups. So that was really interesting to also see firsthand. Working at this startup taught a lot about myself. One of those things was that I really like multitasking. I really like having a list of things to do and being able to knock them off in any sort of order throughout the day. I found that it's probably one of my strengths. I can keep things in the back of my mind and remember to come back to it. And it was always really refreshing to hear Brian say like, oh my gosh, like good job, or I forgot about this, thank you. So that was something that I learned that I could handle as a fast-paced environment. So that was exciting. Another thing is that autonomy is really important to me. I was proving to Brian that I could handle the workload and I could handle it well of quality, like I said before. And so he was able to put a lot more trust in me, which gave me the opportunity to write the long blog post. And that was just super rewarding, and I'm so thankful to have that opportunity. So it really is important to me that there's a trust between my coworkers and I and my bosses and I, because autonomy is really important to me. I want to be able to take things on and prove that I can do them. So moving forward from this internship, I was thinking a lot about my future interviews and future careers, and something that I told Brian in this internship was that I don't know a lot about hot sauce or even Shopify in the very beginning, but if there's a problem, I will figure it out. I'm a problem solver, and that's something that I want to convey to any company that I interview for moving forward, because I feel like that's all they're looking for. They're looking for someone that can get the job done and they're reliable. And that was something that I found in myself and that I was able to finally find the words for. And so hopefully in future interviews, I'll be able to tell people that, yes, you have problems and I might not be an expert on it, but I will find someone who is and I'll get it done for you. So that was super awesome to really learn throughout this internship, and that's something I'm going to continue to keep on doing wherever I work. Another thing is that I was doing a lot more graphic design work than I thought I would be doing, and I loved it. I'm fortunate to have the Adobe suite because of school, and I want to continue to keep doing that. My art kind of dropped off after high school, but I'm going to continue to find ways to incorporate that into my life, whether that be just a hobby or a side hustle. So that was cool that Brian really, he instilled some faith in myself and my art abilities. So that was really nice to experience in this startup. So My summer has been super awesome so far, and I just want to say thank you so much. Big shout out to the East Center and Heather, because my original internship through this program was in Boston at QZM, and it got canceled because of COVID. So thank you for this second opportunity. I really appreciate it, and I learned so much. Thank you so much to the Patton Family Foundation. I've learned so much about myself in so many ways that I can better myself in the future. I have more of a career path now, and I'm just so happy that this summer worked out the way it did, and that it was all thanks to the Patton Family Foundation for providing it.
Hello and welcome. My name is Al Hussein Al Jawad, and I will be with you through this presentation. I was born in Baghdad, Iraq, and I came to the US in 2016. I'm an electrical engineer at the College of Engineering and Physical Sciences, and I belong to the class of 2022. So what was Peloton? Peloton is a valet on-demand service. So I thought of an Uber-like app that would allow someone just to take my car and park it away for me. At first, I thought about targeting universities and college cities. So as I said, it was peer-to-peer car parking. I thought about renting car parks if needed for the valet. And as I said, the process at first was really vague. Now I have established many connections with the universities. I learned that the universities have certain policies that they would like to follow and stick to. And for example, at UNH, it's a walking campus, and they really want to stick to this policy. So if my service doesn't correlate well with that, then it's not going to be successful. I learned through customer discoveries that many customers have issues with lending their car to a valet. For example, car accidents, and not being able to drive a manual stick, for example. Also, I learned through research that renting a car park is very expensive in big cities. The more spots you get, the more expensive it gets, which was why a lot of companies with a similar idea went to work or got acquired by other companies. I also learned through customer discovery that the student segment might not be the most suitable market for my service. So how did SSG help me? I learned through SSG the actual process of building a startup. I would like to think of the process of building a startup is similar to a process of building a house, which is different from renovating a house, that is managing an existing company. So with building a house, you take constant feedback from the family. For example, should I make this room white? Should I make it green? Should I make it this big? Should I make it smaller? You always ask questions to see what your family wants and hence what the customer wants. So you get constant feedback, and with each feedback you do an iteration, you improve your product. The most important thing is to come with a minimum valuable product. In this case, the house framework. So the ups and downs through the SSG, I had pretty big successes. I built a wide network of connections in the parking sector and in UNH and in other universities. And I also learned a lot about the parking industry in general. My biggest frustration was unable to conduct face-to-face interviews with my customers. My future goals is to use the connections I acquired and the information I got about the parking industry in general to help me formulate a better model that would hopefully solve parking issues at UNH and other major universities. I especially want to thank my mentors, Ian Grant and Mike McLaughlin, for providing constant feedback and for helping me through my journey. I also want to thank Heather McNeil for her excellent management skills through this program. I want to thank Pierce Atwood for funding this program. I also want to thank the UNH eCenter for hosting such a programs. This was Al Hussein Al Jawad, and thank you for joining me.
Hi there, my name is Nicholas, and I'm currently a senior computer science student at UNH. I am from São Paulo, Brazil. This is our project, Spider, Sports AI Tracker. Our mission is to change players' experience when playing lacrosse. We provide them with an integrated platform that tracks data from their play style in practices and games. And we display all of that in a mobile application. We started March 5th, where Joey and I met Nathaniel and Brady to discuss their visions for the project. We brought them a very high-level app concept that we developed in a day to show how our skills could fit perfectly to the project. Since that day, we haven't stopped working on it. We won Summer Sea Grant, and here we are a couple months later with a solid prototype, an integrated app that allows players to create teams, check their progress, build their profile, and we also have talked with more than 50 potential customers that assisted us on shaping our idea. Throughout this amazing journey, with the help of Ian Grant and Mike McClurkin, I learned so many things. The most important things was that being organized from day one is crucial to the development of a company, idea, or project. Having our code clean and structured made our app development much faster and smoother. And by being organized as a team with clear goals and sprints, our productivity boosted 200%. Second, the importance of customer development and how much it matters to keep iterating with customers and adapting their points of views to the product. As we all know, 80% of the company's value is on 20% of the company's features. So focusing and staying on the right track with the help of potential customers has driven us closer to the end goal. And the third one is how an excellent mentorship aids in shaping a company. Without the help of our mentors, advisors, and lawyers, we couldn't be where we are right now. Their assistance and support was crucial during these 9 weeks. The amount of guidance we got by sharing all of our ideas, problems, concepts was just incredible. And because of that, my biggest success during these 9 weeks was the amount of progress I made on the app and the server side with the help of Joey. The social aspects of it, specifically, being able to create a whole social system just like Facebook or Instagram with only 2 developers in a team is extremely difficult and a big challenge. But we got very close to where we wanted for our MVP, and we're very happy with that. And with all of that said, our next steps moving forward are to continue the development of Spider platform. We still have a lot of testing to do and some implementation in the app, in the server, and in our AI. But we're getting there. After that, we will deploy to our beta users through the App Store and Google Play for the app side, and we're going to deliver the plugs to their houses. And as a company, we tend to becoming an LLC soon, and we are in the process of having our trademarks and patents. Well, this was an amazing journey, and it wouldn't have happened without the eCenter and Pierce Atwood. I've learned a lot, from the business model canvas to actually deploying multiple servers. My workspace, as you can see in the picture below, shows all the dedication we have put in the app, in the server, in the AI, and modeling the plug, and actually building the prototype, and also talking with various customers. We are really glad we participated in the Summer Sea Grant. A special thanks to Ian Grant, Mike McClurkin, and Jamie Baker. We all appreciate the help. And a shout out to the eCenter and Pierce Atwood for sponsoring the grant.
Hello, my name is Braden Ismaili, and I'm one of the founders of Spider, the sports AI tracker. I am part of the class of 2023's UNH College of Engineering and a bioengineering major from Wilmot, New Hampshire. This summer, my team and I were given the opportunity to work on our startup through a program called the Summer Seed Grant put on by the E-Center. This awarded us time, funds, and resources that allowed us to grow what was simply an idea into a company. Our company aims to bridge the gap between the physical and digital worlds in relation to lacrosse. We hope that our device will allow us to track specific aspects of our players' games and move them into a digital world so that they and their coaches can track their growth and development in very specific areas. When this all started, and on day one of the seed grant, we had little more than an idea. By the end of this, we had grown into not just a physical product, but a fully fleshed out UI, and we had more than enough people who were willing to buy it. This was through some amazing, amazing mentoring from Ian Grant and Mike McClurkin, as well as great resources offered to us through the grant by Pierce Atwood LLC. They offered us not just the chance to actually form our company, but to, from there, grow that and form our own trademarks. They gave us some information behind patents and other growth. Throughout the duration of this grant, we learned many, many things. There were two super key points, though. First was that developing in stages was essential. At the beginning, it felt like we had so many problems and that we were pulled in way too many directions at the same time. But coming into the grant, our ability to separate not just each of our issues individually, but sometimes bring some of those issues together to solve one underlying problem was what allowed us to grow as fast as we have. Second, being able to keep up to date and have that interaction daily with this team throughout the entirety of the grant allowed us to overcome a whole lot of issues that were tied in to just one issue. There were a lot of successes over the length of this grant, whether that was in, for me, CNC prototyping, calculating feeds and speeds, or even circuit design. There was some frustration that tied into that. Learning anything can be difficult, but this grant offered me the support that I needed to sit down and focus. Going forward, we're looking to reduce the size of our circuit board. We're looking to improve our attachments and better place our charging ports, as well as develop a lighter weight model. Our company itself, hopefully in the next few days here, will be able to fully form into an LLC, which will allow us to trademark, which will finally allow us to patent. All in all, I have to give a massive thank you to Ian Grant and Mike McClurkin for the amazing, amazing work they've done with us while mentoring us throughout this project. Additionally, it's a massive thank you to Pierce Atwood LLP for doing so much for us when it came down to the legal side of things. In the top right there, you can see what was my workstation, as well as the very messy right side of that desk with all of my components, my soldering squid, my 3D printer, and my computer. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nathaniel Hunt, and I am the co-founder of Spider. I am a philosophy major in UNH's College of Liberal Arts in the class of 2022. I'll express how grateful I am to have been able to take part in this invaluable opportunity. Our company. We have developed an entire platform that maximizes player and team development through an integrated device inserted in the end of a lacrosse stick that connects via Bluetooth about 3 years ago, where it sat idly in my brain until I approached the E-Center in February of 2020. There, I was provided with the resources I needed to find my extremely talented co-founders that helped me turn my idea into a reality. We met for the first time on March 5th of this year, and since then, we have had over 50 customer discovery meetings and developed a prototype of both the app and product. Along with that, we have worked with Pierce Atwood to incorporate and form our trademark, as well as connected with Franklin Pierce Law School on patent information. The first lesson I learned is that customer discovery is imperative to the success of a startup. We had an idea of what our customers wanted, but until we actually went out there and talked to them, we weren't able to make the small changes that we needed to bring our product to the very best. It will make or break you. Without connections, there's no way we would have been able to have the 60 customer discovery meetings we did, or have any of the other information along the way. Honestly, we wouldn't have been able to even have 10 customer discovery meetings without the connections that they provided. 3, without mentorship, I would have been lost before I even started. I knew nothing about starting a business. I'm not a business major. I have no background in customer discovery or product development or anything. So without the amazing mentorship we received through this opportunity, we lost. The biggest success is that there wasn't a lot about our product that people didn't like during our customer discovery meetings. Although we had to make a few small changes along the way, our customers really truly did want it pretty much the way we described it. A lot of canceled customer discovery meetings due to the state of pandemic. When you meet over Zoom or on the phone, it's really easy to cancel the meeting or say that you're trying to find another time, which can be really frustrating. But we got through it, and we were very successful when it came to customer discovery. Potential customers and get feedback. In fact, I already have 2 meetings scheduled for this coming week. We would like to continue to work with Pierce Atwood and Franklin Pierce Law School as we continue to move forward as a company. We'd like to test and further develop our product through the feedback we get from potential customers, mentors, as we develop the company. That relationship is imperative to our success, and we'd like to continue it. We'd like to work towards incorporation, getting our trademark, and working towards our patent application. I'd like to take this time to thank three really important aspects to this, and we wouldn't have been successful without. I'd first like to thank the sponsor of the Summer Seed Grant, being Pierce Atwood Law Firm. We honestly cannot thank you enough for this opportunity. It has really changed our lives, and it will forever. We'd also like to thank the eCenter for putting all this together. The eCenter is an amazing opportunity for everyone who gets the chance, and we're lucky enough to experience that. And lastly, I'd like to thank Ian Grant and Mike McClurkin, our mentors throughout this entire process. As I stated before, we couldn't have done any of this without the mentorship that we received from them. Our weekly meetings were imperative throughout the entire process, and myself and the rest of the team cannot thank you enough for this opportunity. Thank you for everyone who's listening, and have a great rest of your day.
My name is Joey Nelliver. I'm from Guilford, Connecticut. I am a junior computer science major here at the University of New Hampshire, and I'm part of the Spider team. Spider is a platform with a physical and virtual component that allows lacrosse players and teams to excel at their maximum potentials. On day 1, when we had our first full meeting as a company, we all brought our own things to the table. From a rudimentary prototype to a very basic app design, one thing that we all shared in common was a vision for what one day Spider might become. Today, we are working on this vision. We have a usable prototype, which we use for collecting data. We're able to process this data and determine if there's a shot or if it's a mishap in the data. We are also able to display this information to a user with a very intuitive user interface. Lessons learned along the way. Number 1 for me personally was the necessity of breaks. For the first 7 weeks of this project, I worked 16 hours a day, 5 or 6 days a week. And this not only had physical effects on me, it also had mental effects. Number 2, I learned how to code efficiently with a partner. One thing that I've never done before was work on a large-scale project with somebody else. This was a big change. I had to learn to comment my code and make it intuitive for somebody else to understand what I'm doing. Lastly is the importance of customer discovery. When we had our first initial idea, we knew what we wanted to make. But after talking to 50 or 60 people, where we realized that we were just slightly off. And over the last 9 weeks, we have been able to morph our ideas together to create what we believe is the best product that we can put out. Biggest success for me personally was the amount that we were able to accomplish in these short 9 weeks as a company. And as well, I was able to learn some pretty incredible things. Everything from business to social skills over virtual mediums to hardware-based things. that I will take with me for the rest of my life for computer science purposes. My biggest frustration was not being able to work face-to-face with people. We had to use virtual mediums, whether this be Discord, Zoom, phone calls. We made it work, and we found out little ways that we could work around things. Although they would have been easier in person, we found our way. Going forward, on a programming side, we want to continue to work on shot detection to get this rate up from what we're currently at, which is about 75%. Closer towards 100, and then we were able to provide it better for people. We want to create a processing server to do this, and we want to create a link between the plug and the app so there doesn't have to be a middleman of a computer, which we currently have. As a company, we are working on becoming an LLC, but we have some international affairs that we have to manage first. Trademarks and patents, we are going to continue working with Pierce Atwood and the UNH Law School on this. We want to begin data collection with beta testers and let them put it through the hoops and see what will happen with it in the field. Lastly, I would like to say a huge thank you to both Ian Grant and Mike McClarkin for meeting with us nearly weekly and helping us shape Spider to what it is today. UNH eCenter for providing us with this opportunity to work on this grant for the last 9 weeks and for us to chase our dreams. And Pierce Atwood for sponsoring this grant, providing us with a legal amount of support that we could only dream of. Thank you.